welcome back to Busy Being Jen. As you can see from the title of this video, I'm here to talk about the 2018 reading challenge that I am going to participate in. It's something that I kind of seen in a couple of places, and I made my own challenge of sorts, and I'll share it with you if you guys are interested in that. In the link below this video, you're going to go over to my coordinating blog post to my blog, BusyBeingJen.com, but the link to this exact post will be in the space below, and then you can see my list and do a cut and paste and then tweak it however you want to do it if you want to join me on this. So for the last 2 years, for 2016 and 2017, instead of doing New Year's resolutions, I was doing mini challenges, and that was every single month there was a different challenge, something that I would challenge myself to do for 30 days. I was really good about it in 2016 and really good about it for most of 2017, and then I got to September and it just all kind of fell apart. I broke one of my cardinal rules. I took on too much. I had started with the idea of doing mini challenges just on Busy Being Jen, and then a viewer said, hey, why don't you do a set of challenges on your other channel too? And I said yes, and I shouldn't have said yes because now I added more stuff. And I always think that when you're going to do something like a New Year's resolution or your goals, that they should be really achievable. So you want to make sure that you don't overload yourself. For example, if you say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, okay, that's great, but you have to break it down into pieces, because otherwise, if you just say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, when are you going to do that? November? Or are you going to take it bit by bit and say, I'm going to lose 2 pounds a month? And then, you know, if you say you're going to lose 2 pounds a month, by the end of the year, you've actually lost 24 pounds. So I always think that you should take things into kind of bite-sized pieces and not do something too enormous, because chances are after the first 6 weeks or 2 months, when you know the excitement has worn off and your motivation has worn off, then we just blow it off and we get to the end of the year and we think, well, what was that resolution I was planning to do? Yeah. Well, anyway, so I really did have fun with the mini challenges though in the past, and I will do those again in the future. But I thought for this year that I would take a break from mini challenges and that I would do something a little different. And so I have decided to challenge myself to reading, and not just reading a certain number of books, but challenge myself to reading kinds of books that I don't normally read. So I made this list here. It looks really long. There are actually 34 things on here. I am not planning to read 34 books. That would be completely unreasonable for me, because I think this past year I read maybe 8. So just, you know, see what I mean? I think that you should set an achievable goal. I would actually like to read 12. I'd like to read 1 a month. So that's really what I'm gonna try to do. But the categories are what I'm really excited about, because it's gonna encourage me to read things other than what I normally read. So I thought I would share with you what the things are, the categories are on my list. And then you can decide kind of, you know, what you want your categories to be. But I would really encourage you to challenge yourself to read some different things for yourself. Don't just list a bunch of things that you're going to read those kind of books anyway. All right, at the top of my list, I put down to read a cozy mystery. I read cozy mysteries, if I could speak, but I didn't read any in the last year, and so I want to encourage myself to do that. Cozy mysteries, just look it up online. They're actually mysteries that are kind of fun and lighthearted, and I like those. So also I want to read some kind of classic romance. So not a Harlequin or something like that, but just want to go back and you know, just find like an actual classic novel that's kind of in the romance genre. Then a regular classic, and I have written down a couple of the actual books that I think I want to read. I didn't fill them all in just because I may change my mind, or I just may not be in the mood to read a certain book as the year goes on. But for a classic, I put down To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't think I have ever read that book, you guys. Can you believe it? I don't think I was ever required to read that book in school. And a couple of years ago, I bought the book. It's right over on my bookshelf, and then it's just never, never got around to reading it. So I'm going to this year. Okay, I put down, let's see, another one is a book that became a movie. I have a book, The Light Between Oceans, that I bought like a year ago, never read. So yeah, a book with a number in the title. I don't know which one I'm going to read of those. I also put down a book about Christian living, a mystery or a thriller. Now remember, I'm not going to read every single one of these things on here. My goal is to read at least 12, but I'm hoping that these categories will inspire me to read because, things that are different. A book with a one-word title, a book of short stories, a New York Times bestseller list book. Okay, a book that's at the bottom of my TBR pile, my to be read pile. I actually have a cabinet, it's in my dining room, and I've got 2 stacks that are, like this tall, and they're just books that I have been meaning to read. When I say at the bottom of that pile, I don't just mean any book in that pile. Literally, I'm going to go to the bottom of those 2 piles, like the three books on the bottom of each stack, and pick one of those to read. Okay, a memoir, and I'm actually thinking I would like to read the book All Creatures Great and Small. A book I can finish in a day, a book set in a place where I've always wanted to visit. So I don't know, I've always wanted to visit Australia, so I'll have to look for something that's set there. My Australian viewers, let me know of a good book I should read. Okay, a book in a trilogy. My husband's been wanting me to read this trilogy. It's the Shattered Sea books, and they're not the kind of book I would normally read, but I read the first one in this series and it was really good, and I just didn't read any others in that, so I'm gonna read the next book. There's 3 of them, obviously, trilogy. Okay, a book you loved as a kid. I have every Nancy Drew book that I ever read and bought as a kid. I remember riding my bike to Kmart in the summer when it was like 120 in Phoenix to buy another Nancy Drew book with my allowance. I loved those. I still have them, and I'm going to reread one of those Nancy Drew books. So here's the thing. I want to read 12 books in a year. Some of these are going to be super short and quick reads, like the one that I can finish in a day and the Nancy Drew. So am I going to be able to get to 12? Yeah. Am I going to be able to get over 12? I hope so. Okay, a book of poetry. I have some poetry books, but I don't think I've ever sat down and read the whole thing. A book that you own but have never read. I have lots of those. A book that takes place in your home state. So I'm going to be trying to find something that is set in Arizona. Okay, I put down a book that I won on Goodreads. If you go to Goodreads.com, it's a kind of a book community. You can have friends that you share book reviews with, but they also have these contests and giveaways. So every month you can go on there and just enter giveaways, and I will oftentimes win a book or 2, and so I have several. In fact, in the last few months, I've won probably 4 or 5 books from Goodreads, and I need to read one. So I'm just going to make it a goal to read at least one of those. A book set during Christmas, a banned book. So I'm kind of thinking about the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, because that at one time was a banned book. Okay, a book you started but never finished. So we'll see about that. A book about a road trip. Now this one I'm kind of excited about because my mom just recommended this to me. Her book club read it. I think it's called Annie Freeman's Fabulous Traveling Funeral. She said it was just a great book, and so I ordered it already. That's going to be one that I read. If you want another one that's about a road trip, Calling Me Home, I would recommend. I think who wrote that? Julie Keibler? Calling Me Home. Really, really good book. which also falls into the next category, which is a book about race or racial issues, Calling Me Home, fits into that category as well. A young adult fiction book. I love young adult fiction. I think I like it because it sort of moves quickly. And same with juvenile fiction, you know, like, well, let's see, young adult fiction would be like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or The Hunger Games. And then I put down juvenile fiction as well because I have several juvenile fiction books. I mean, I'm a professor of reading at a university, and so I have a lot of books, and sometimes I'll get a book. I think, oh, that's a really good one I've heard about, but then I haven't read. So I have a couple I haven't read, so I'm definitely going to do that, and those will be some quick reads too. A book with a yellow cover. Yeah, so who knows? A book with an ocean on the cover. A book about a hobby. A children's book that I own but haven't read. I have a lot of children's books. Lots. And I know that there are a few of them that I purchased because I heard they were good, but I haven't read them. They'll take like 5 minutes to read. Okay, and then at the bottom of my list, I have a book of choice, a book of choice, and a book of choice. That's just in case I find a book that I really want to read, that I'm very motivated to read, but it doesn't fit into any of those categories. I don't want to find myself at some point in the year saying, I want to read this book, but I can't because I need to read things that fit into this. So I'm giving myself a place to put those. I hope you guys will give this a try and think it over. If you're interested in participating in the challenge with me, go ahead and make a comment in the space below. I will make a video periodically, maybe once every couple of months, to let you know about my progress and to recommend some of the books. Now remember, also go to the link in the space below for the coordinating blog post. I will have my list posted on there. That way you can kind of do a copy and paste, and then you can change out the things you don't want and keep the things you do want and kind of personalize it for yourself. You may want to make way fewer choices. You may want to add a whole bunch of things to yours. But let's have fun reading in 2018. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope, like I am, that you're looking forward to a great 2018. Take care, you guys, and we'll see you again on Busy Being Jen. Remember, if you're not a current subscriber, hit that button. YouTube will let you know when I upload new videos, which is quite often, and I hope I'll see you again. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.